Dzień dobry! Hello everyone! Today we have graduate students from Poland.
My name is Zosia and I'm doing a master's course in industrial design.
Hi, my name is Michał and I am a second year PhD student in electrical engineering, also from Poland.
Where did you go before joining KAIST?
Zosia, did you go to undergraduate?
Yeah, I did my undergraduate at KAIST. I did double major in industrial design and computer science.
I did my bachelor's degree in Silesian University of Technology in Poland. In electronics and telecommunications engineering.
And then you joined KAIST afterwards?
Yes. I joined KAIST for my master's degree in the same lab as I'm currently in now.
Which other universities did you apply besides KAIST?
Actually, I didn't apply to any universities. I just applied to KAIST, but I considered also Seoul National University in Korea. And in Europe, I have considered TU Delft, Politecnico Milano, and ETH Zurich.
And yeah, for me, I also only applied to KAIST.
And then in that case, what made you settle and decide on KAIST?
So for me, it was mostly because of the good financing. Not need to worry about any student loans or if you can survive until the end of the month. And the second thing is KAIST has really good faculty for semiconductor engineering, which is my major basically.
The scholarship was a huge part, but as well, I also really wanted to work with my advisor. So the research that is done in my department, and especially by my advisor, was something that is not very popular. And I thought that, if I wanted to do that, I wanted to do it at this specific lab. So that's why I applied. Yeah.
Then in that case, how was your academics in undergrad? You don't have to drop your GPA.
So I'm just going to go ahead and drop my GPA. It was about 88% of the total score, which made me around top 5 in my major in the year. But I guess I stood out more in my CV.
I'm wondering if you have heard about a lower number that I will gonna say. I'm gonna drop my GPA. It was 2.7. I do not think that number defines me very well. Yeah, when I applied to KAIST, I had a lot of other things that I think described me much more. For example, my previous research experiences and projects that I took on that I felt fit my personality and fit to describe what I want.
Could you tell more about what made your resume or application stand out?
So I did a university research program, and I was able to work with some professors in KAIST, and I feel that was the most. But also, one other thing is I was very active in the school life. So I was a member of KISA, KAIST International Student Association.
First of all, I did a few Olympiads in my major in electronics, and I did pretty well on them. And then there was also a professional experience. I did work as a part-time embedded systems engineer, and I also did many DIY projects. So this showed to my advisor that I'm ready to start a project from day one. And do lots of practical aspects of my major.
Do you get a scholarship from KAIST, and does your lab support you financially as well?
Both of us get the scholarship. Just the thing is, because we are graduate students, we get it mixed up with our salary, so we can't tell specifically how much we get of the scholarship because we just don't know at this moment. But the good thing is that we don't need to pay any tuition. Because I'm in EE, the EE is the biggest and the most well-funded department in all KAIST, so I can tell that I get at least 2.5 million. It's usually higher depending on the status of the financing for the lab.
I get 950 for the salary from the lab. Everyone in our lab gets the same amount.
Is that enough? Where does your spendings go usually?
Most of my spendings go either on my meals. I like to cook at home. Of course, sometimes if I don't have time, I would just go to a cafeteria, and it's much cheaper. And the second most important part is of the spending is house. Now I live off campus. I like to do sports, so I spend money on gym membership, climbing, and so on. I also spend some money on hobbies, but even with this, I'm still able to save about 15% of my salary every month.
Yeah, mostly food, also gym membership, those kind of small expenses, and clothes.
You mentioned about living outside, right?
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about how is it living outside? How did you find a place?
In general, in Daejeon, it's not very difficult to get a off-campus housing. What's more is you can get a pretty nice housing around the school. So I live in a 1.5 room. I spend about 600,000 per month, but you can get it much cheaper. If you just go to the real estate agency or look on the internet, you can get a housing pretty easily. You just need to know how to look for it and where to look for it and when to look for it.
Talking a little bit about language, how fluent are you guys with Korean? Was there any like language barriers that you experienced on campus?
I'm comfortable in taking a taxi or going for a coffee, going for a meal. Those things I'm very comfortable, like compared to when I first came to Korea. I learned by listening mostly. I took a lot of classes in KAIST Language Center, and that helped a lot. KAIST Language Center, they offer like monthly classes. They are very, very cheap. So you pay really not much, like 30K. There's a key house, right? So in key house, it's free. You can get a teacher, but there's no like curriculum.
I would say that my Korean is around intermediate level, like lower intermediate level. I mostly studied Korean on my own, and I studied Korean before I was in KAIST as well. I would say that I have no problems when I'm at school, because every class in KAIST that I took was in English. All of the professors speak English pretty well. Sometimes the students don't. But I would say as soon as you leave the campus, and that's when the barriers come up. I remember when I had to do my driving license and go to the district office, that's where I needed to work extra hard to be understood.
When you were applying to grad schools, what did you prepare? What kind of documents did you submit?
The diploma, the transcript with my grades, and I had to translate my other certificates that I had just as an extra. I also had to prepare 2 recommendation letters, because in graduate school you have to have 2 recommendation letters from your professor, from your boss, whatever. And I had to make a motivational letter, why I want to join KAIST. If you do these motivational letters, these research plans pretty well, it's going to give you lots of benefits when you apply.
You have to submit passports of your parents, yourself, and also a certificate of being related to your parents. I also did internships, so I submitted documents related to that to prove that I had those internships. I submitted my portfolio. That is something unique.
Because industrial design.
Yes. You have to prepare a portfolio, like around 15 to 20 pages.
I want to briefly mention how KAIST is like a small city that has everything, all the facilities for students. I want to highlight the visa center. We call it Global Talent Visa Center. Have you been there? Do you have experience with them?
They understand those specific to KAIST documents much better. And also they process things very quickly. It was a very nice experience. And there are always available times within the week. So that's much better than going to, the Daejeon Immigration Center.
They're fluent and they can help you out.
It's very close, it's quick, no problems with communication. I give 10 out of 10.
What are you guys planning to do after this? Maybe it's not exciting for you.
I would like to work a bit more in Korea, probably in a startup, and with that I could obtain my permanent residence, and then probably move somewhere else, like either to Europe or in the US, but with the permanent residence I could come back and forth to Korea. And I would probably like to do a postdoc in something related to my major, just slightly different. And on my way, I would like to do something useful to my community, to my country, such as becoming maybe a lecturer. My goal for now is just to graduate.
I think I have 2 main visions. So first one is I would really want to go for a PhD, continue my research, and one of the ways would be become a professor. And another one is I would really want to open a design studio.
Call me when you have your design studio. I'll come.
Okay.
On the last note, I want you to tell future students from Poland who are considering to apply to KAIST why they have to apply to KAIST, but also I want you to give some tips.
You don't need to worry about anything because we are here and you can learn from our stories, from our mistakes, so that you don't need to repeat them. It's not easy. Don't think that like this, but it gives you many possibilities for the future if you want to stay in Korea, because you can get a nice visa, or if you want to go back home, you can get lots of benefits from studying here.
You can always reach out to us for help. You can always find a lot of materials online that will help you. So don't worry, try to seek help, and it's gonna be okay. The main tip I would give to people is just be yourself. Think about how you would want people to see you. If you think your GPA defines you, then okay, but yeah, most of the time it doesn't. So think about what defines you truly and try to apply with that in mind.
Thank you so much for joining today. I had a great time talking to you and listening all of your stories. And we can say
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.